will always be very strategic and opportunistic in terms of being able to collect assets and utilize our room this summer going into free agency as it relates to finding future Hornets as well.
Hornets DNA is all about being obsessed with daily improvement. So whatever we did today, now we got to go ahead, improve, learn from what we did, and be better tomorrow.
That's our EVP and head coach talking game. What's up? My name is Sam Dracula. I'm a Hornets fan. This is the offseason. Offseason, the Hornets have been surprisingly active in a positive way. So far, at least. I've been a fan of everything they've done. Minus, the first round pick, not so much. Salon, we'll see. I talked about the young boys enough. I made videos on Salon. I made a video on KJ Simpson. All that's on my channel, so go check that out. But in this video, I'm talking about everything that's happened since draft day, basically. We're going to go through everything in chronological order to the best I can. I made notes as time and news came out, just written things down. So we're going to talk JT Thor. We're going to talk Seth Curry. We're going to talk Josh Green trade. We're going to talk Amari Bailey getting declined. We're going to talk about Kemba retiring and then joining the coaching staff. We're going to talk about Marquise Balden getting waived, talking Summer League, and Brandon Miller playing in Summer League, and maybe some Miles Bridges if there's still time. My personal goal is to continue to be active on this channel every week throughout the offseason, talking Hornets stuff. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you like this and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything, especially with Summer League activity right around the corner. Also, July 9th, 4 p.m. on the Bleacher Report app, I'll be doing a live stream talking Hornets basketball for about 30 minutes or so. So stay on the lookout for that if you have the BR app. Let's start off with the day after the second day of the draft. JT Thor, gone, right? Hornets have declined the team option on him, which is like $2 million. Like, it wasn't a lot of money, but apparently it was too much money for JT Thor, respectfully. It's July 3rd as I'm recording this. JT Thor is about a month-ish away from being a 22-year-old man, right? That's insane, first off. The fact that he's only 22 or about to be 22 with 3 years of NBA experience is crazy, right? But anyway, he's available, right? Which is odd because you can see, right, the potential in him when you look at his frame and his youth. But through 3 years, just haven't really seen the results. And most importantly, I guess when you look at the rest of the roster as the summer goes, JT wasn't drafted by Jeff Peterson and the new ownership group. Like, he's an MJ Kupchak era guy. So look, man, JT has shown signs of being something in the league. Again, I think it's a long way from being a real regular NBA player, especially on a good team, right? In a big team rotation. When the Hornets went on their winning streak, it was because they brought in real NBA players, right? And you saw the likes of McGowans and Thor take a lesser role for a Grant Williams, for a Trey Mann, for instance, right? The gap is massive between established NBA guys like Trey Mann, Grant Williams, even Micic, compared to McGowans and Thor and others, right? At this stage, would I be surprised if Thor was brought back on a lesser deal? No. Will it happen? I have no idea. It's almost as if they only have so many spots to give projects, all right? And I think it's a beautiful thing, too. If they could prioritize the player development, because you can, especially on the main roster, right? You have 15 slots to field a real competitive team and also carry developmental guys that are not on two-way guys. So with them taking Salon 6th overall, right? He's gonna take a big roster spot on the big team, yeah? And he's a 4. Thor's a 4. Would you rather place your investment in player development focus on JT Thor or the guy who took 6th overall? That's my view on the situation. If they could bring him back on a two-way, I wouldn't hate it. I can't lie. But he needs some more seasoning, to say the least. Also, funny enough, looking at Salon's tape, he loves the corner 3, and that's basically what JT Thor was doing for the Hornets last year offensively. And so it just doesn't make sense to have both those guys on your 15-man roster. So good luck to JT Thor, honestly. On the same day as JT Thor was the Seth Curry news. The deadlines were the same day. So the Hornets had until the 28th to decide whether or not they wanted to guarantee Seth Curry's contract for next season, which I believe was $4 million. Clearly, they didn't want to do that, and they separated, at least for now, right? I believe it was Woj that tweeted out there was interest on both sides to make a deal for Seth to return to Charlotte. I mean, from a vibe point of view and narrative point of view, having a Curry in Charlotte is amazing. We waited so long for it to happen, and it finally happened. I mean, we barely got to see him on the court, played less than 10 games for Charlotte, right? Didn't really shoot the ball that well compared to his career numbers. But honestly, like, it's a vibe, right? The Hornets aren't going to go into the playoffs this year anyway. I hope they can make a deal to bring Seth back just for the vibes and the narrative, man. And for nothing else, put him back on commentary like they did last year. That was really cool to see. You know, little wholesomeness goes a long way. More wholesome content coming up later, by the way, with the Kemba news. The Hornets could use some goodwill, right? And bringing Seth back on an affordable, on a team-friendly deal would make a lot of sense. I don't think Curry's at the stage now where he could really like ring chase, and I think it makes a lot of sense for Seth to stay home. Literally, stay home. JT Thor out. Seth Curry out. Josh Green in. And for like nothing, 2 second-round picks. Listening to all the press conference stuff, either with Charles Lee or Jeff Peterson or both of them, they all seem to have a theme about what they're looking for in guys, hard-working guys, which is a bit of a cliche, right? Obviously, sports are a cliche. But Josh Green fits the bill as a hard worker. You know, it fits that theme. When you look at what Dallas Mavericks have to say about Josh Green, some of the negatives include his injury history or his handle, right? Or sometimes, like, I guess his fit in the grander scheme of how Dallas operated. Green is 23 years old to be 24 in November. So he fits the age profile of what the Hornets have going on here. So Peterson mentioned this during the rookie introductory press conference, right? The idea of not trying to win now for the sake of it and at the risk of not making the playoffs after, right? They're trying to build something that can be sustainable and grow, right? And adding a 23-year-old NBA veteran wing that has some serious two-way potential, like, that's a no-brainer for like nothing. Green seemed to be on the market all year long, right? Hell, even at the deadline, there were rumors about the Hornets making a deal for him then, which tells me this ownership group likes this dude, right? Because that was before Peterson was affiliated with the team. That was still during the Kupchak era, where those rumors of Green to Charlotte. Now that Green is in Charlotte, it's very clear that Peterson's aligned, at least with the owners, on this move. And when you look at how he could potentially fit with this group, I mentioned his age, but his play style, right? Next to LaMelo and Brandon Miller, as, you know, LaMelo at the 1, Miller at the 2, Green at the 3, or Green at the 2, and Miller at the 3. You know what I mean? They could switch. He fits the size profile and the age and skill set that's needed in Charlotte. Josh Green's been a pretty efficient scorer, right? From the field and from 3, just in general, last 2 years especially, on a pretty low volume, but you're going to have that playing with Luka. I think this is exactly what Jeff Peterson is talking about when he's saying they want to be smart and strategic and opportunistic with their moves this offseason, because they have a real NBA player, right? If he's a starting level guy, if he's a rotation level guy, it doesn't really matter, because his contract number is pretty economical when you look at it, especially his age, right? $12 million this season, 13 next year, and then the 14.6 the year after, and he's only be 26 at that point. I'm not here to talk down about the Hornets. I want the Hornets to be great, but it's gonna be a while, y'all, and this move fits that, because he can be good enough right now and has the potential to really still get better and grow with LaMelo, Brandon Miller, Salon, right, and the rest of them. And if it doesn't work out, you could always trade Josh Green later. You know what I'm saying? Like, the contract number is not crazy. You can figure it out. That's JT Thor out, Seth Curry out, Josh Green in, Amari Bailey out. This seems to be one of those moves that if Kupchak was still in charge, this wouldn't have happened, because this was a Kupchak selection, right? Jeff Peterson doesn't owe it to anybody to prove himself right. And this opens up one two-way slot, And this opens up another two-way slot. Marquise Balden, waived. Now, I'm going to go back to Bailey for a second. But Bailey was a highly touted high school prospect, went to UCLA, and was kind of and then had a really experience as a pro. The story on him isn't done yet. I wish him the best, but like the coaching staff, it's a fresh start, right? It's a fresh ownership group, fresh front office. It's a fresh coaching staff. Like you got to cut ties with some guys to make room for others. Considering all the injuries the Hornets went through and all the guard help they desperately needed, Amari never got a look under the previous coaching staff and the previous front office, to be fair, right? So it shouldn't really be a shock that he wasn't retained. And then quickly on Balden, he was just filler. Like, no disrespect to the man, but you know, he was a replacement. They had Nathan Mensah. You know, when Mark Williams went down, they brought in Nathan Mensah, who came and went. Right, Balden came in at times. It wasn't very good, respectfully. So it's not a shock that they freed up a two-way slot and said goodbye to Balden. So that's it for the Hornets departures as of now. Again, I'm recording this July 3rd. If something happens later, I'll make a video on it later. But as of now, that's it for everyone that's leaving the team. Someone left the NBA, at least officially, or at least left the game of basketball officially. Kemba Walker retired. So I'm just going to jump straight into this part. The last sentence here: basketball will forever be part of my life. So this isn't goodbye. I'm excited for what's next. Player enhancement coach Kemba Walker is what's next. I started making YouTube videos on the Hornets the summer of 2019 when Kemba left, because there was so much negativity about the franchise, especially at that point. There always is negativity around the Hornets, for whether it's deserved or undeserved, equal parts of both over the years, right? Kemba, though, at that point, like, it was clear, right? Kemba was too good for Charlotte. The Hornets weren't going anywhere at all. And he had an opportunity to go to a team that could use him to the best of his abilities. And that time it was Boston, right? Didn't really work out. And we all know what happened after that. And what happened to the Hornets too at that same juncture, right? Like the Kemba Walker sign and trade with Terry Rozier was one of the better moves that Kupchak made during his run here in Charlotte as the main man. Earlier I talked about Seth Curry and vibes and positivity and wholesomeness. This is top tier wholesomeness. And I'm so glad he never came back to Charlotte as a lesser player, because that is always sad. That is never, I don't care who you are, what sport it is, it's always a bummer when the guy returns just to do it, just for the sake of it. It's always a bummer. And it never hits the same. Like, it's a great initial like pop, but then it's oh man, this is embarrassing. And I'm glad we didn't get that. I'm glad we're getting him not at the end of his playing career, but at the start of his coaching career. And if this team performs well, there can be more and better opportunities for him as a coach as time goes on. It's a beautiful thing. This is so wonderful to see too. Just in general, beyond Kemba, the refresh of the coaching staff is long overdue. With all due respect to the coaches that have been a part of the franchise for the last several years, firing Borrego, hiring Clifford, and not doing anything with the coaching staff is such a Bush League broke franchise move. And I blame MJ for that. All right. Now, maybe it was because they're going to sell the team. They want to cut down on unnecessary expenses, whatever. The Hornets followed the path properly. Step 1, new owners. Step 2, new front office. Step 3, new coach. Step 4, new coaching staff. It's wonderful. Love it. Also, just real quick on Miles Bridges. This is hilarious. I'm not going to say why it's hilarious. You know why it's hilarious. Let's move on. Charles Lee coaching the Summer League team and like controlling and running these practices, I think it's going to mean so much. And I really think it's why Brandon Miller is involved in Summer League. I think he wants to be engrossed in this new coaching staff's philosophy, like as soon as possible. Because I don't know, these young guys, they play basketball all year long, right? When you get to the pros, once you're eliminated, right? You're not playing a meaningful game until October. And for Charlotte, it was pretty rough. So you're looking at several months of inactivity while the playoffs are going on. And then now the offseason's starting to kick up. And I suspect that Brandon's going to get involved or getting involved in the Vegas Summer League just because he wants to play ball, man. Like, truly. Like, and just get involved and learn from Charles Lee. Like, you saw it in the little hype video the Hornets tweeted out today with one of their practices. And the clip I had at the beginning is from the Hornets Twitter, right? Miller with the new coach as a potential team leader, learning early. I'm here for it, man. I love it. I love this stuff. Miller seems like a gamer. So just unfortunately, KJ Simpson is not going to be participating in Summer League, and neither is Solon, which is such a bummer, man. Like, what the hell? Like, what the hell? KJ especially, I was most looking forward to playing in Summer League as a real point guard. You don't see real point guard playing in Summer League, especially in Charlotte, or at least from the Hornets organization. But Leaky Black, right? Bryce McGowan's, Brandon Miller, he has nothing to worry about. But Bryce McGowan's and Leaky Black have a lot to prove with the new guy. Nick Smith Jr. have a lot to prove with the new guy. And those are things to look out for and be mindful of. And truthfully, like, see who Charles Lee is talking to, man, and who's getting the most minutes out of these young guys, because there's two way slots available as of right now. And any one of these guys could be in play for one or two of those spots, right? And if they're playing a ton, if they're really impressing Charles Lee, could be a glimpse of the future, right? The Hornets schedule is nuts. You got the Spurs on Saturday and China on Sunday. All right, hey, let's go. And then on the 9th, you got Sacramento. A bit boring now, right? July 13, Knicks. July 16, Nuggets. July 17, the Champs. July 19, Portland. So with the timing of some of these games, I don't know if I'll be live streaming during some, all, or none of them. So just make sure you subscribe and just keep it locked. You'll find out on the day if there'll be a stream for that Summer League game. But I'll be watching them all. I'll definitely be talking about them in videos throughout the Summer League. So stay tuned for that. But until then, I've been Sam. You've been great. Peace.